I'm Charlie Bright of Gold Derby, and today I'm speaking with Don Hall, one of the director of Strange World from Disney, as part of our Meet the Experts film animation panel. First thing I wanted to ask was, what were some of the challenges you faced in designing the incredible world of Avalonia?
Well, I mean, it was a beautiful challenge. So I'm just gonna try and speak to this without doing any spoilers, because the movie hasn't come out yet. So the Strange World is a very mysterious world. Like when we enter Strange World, it's very much like, Journey to the Center of the Earth. We go from this world of Avalonia, which is this, fantasy world, a kind of a retro future world that's surrounded by mountains on all sides, and there's a journey underneath that takes them underneath. So it's very much like Journey to the Center of the Earth, where they find another crazy new world, and there are some rules governing this strange world that become apparent later in the film. It's a reveal of what is the true nature of Strange World. So we sort of had that. We and did a lot of research into different biomes and living systems, et cetera. And then really what I wanted is just to kind of create a blank space, a blank canvas for these amazing artists at Disney Animation to just let their imaginations go. And ultimately, I was just sort of the cheerleader, just ushering them to go weirder, go stranger, and just embrace this, just the limits of their creativity, which was boundless. And it it led to a really unique and specific and beautiful world.
I just had this image of you being brought a drawing of something, and you're like, "I need it weirder."
Yeah, that was kind of it. Yeah.
So actually, you alluded to some of this in your previous answer. Because it felt like there were a lot of homages to things like pulp magazines and old science fiction films. You mentioned Journey to the Center of the Earth, and I was wondering if you could tell us about some of the material for both of those, the pulp and the science fiction that you drew from for this film.
Well, yeah, I mean, very early on, that was part of the research, right? I got to kind of, I knew this was going to be a big adventure film and evoke that sort of subgenre, I'll call it, of the adventure film, where a group of explorers finds a hidden world with amazing creatures and a lot of times dangerous creatures. King Kong, I guess, being sort of the cinematic example of that. But so. Yeah, I got to go back and reread Journey to the Center of the Earth, The Lost World by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Edgar Rice Burroughs, The Land That Time Forgot, and all of these things I loved as a kid, and I just got to introduce myself to them, and just because I love that stuff. I mean, it was such a joyous experience, and then for the pulp of it all, these pulp kind of magazines of the 40s, 50s, that really were instrumental in kind of the character, I guess, of Jaeger Clade. I mean, he taking that archetype of the adventurer, that kind of hyper masculine adventurer that seems to always be in conflict with nature, and getting to kind of deconstruct that a little bit and look at it from not as him as the main character, but him as the father of the main character. That felt like a really fun way to examine that, because this is a generational story. It's about fathers and sons, and it really all goes back to when I first started the project. I was thinking about my kids and what kind of world. This was around 2017, as I came off Moana. What kind of world are they inheriting? What kind of world did I inherit from my father, who was a farmer, and wanted to tell an environmental story, essentially, and about what it means to be a good ancestor, and tell that through the lens of three generations in one family, and then of course have that be the delivery device for that story is going to be a big, giant, epic adventure story that, much like Journey to the Center of the Earth or Lost World.
So this is another film that has an incredible cast, including people like Jake Gyllenhaal and Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
How did the cast for this film come together?
We have an amazing casting director at Disney named Jamie Roberts, and I think it was probably after Kui, who is the writer, Kui Gwyn, who's the writer and co-director of Strange World. He wrote probably a treatment, I think, and Jamie read that and gave us a list with these exact actors. And I think we were like, yeah, this would be amazing because we're fans of all of them. And would they really want to do this?
Were you just like, yeah, that's great, let's get them?
Yeah, pretty much, and to a person, I think they all responded to the pitch, to the story. We brought them in and always wanted to meet with them first and just get to know them independent of a recording session, and so we scheduled all that and got to know everybody, and you could tell from the first meetings it was going to be a kind of a joyous experience, and similar to I've been listening to everybody else's stories, and very much in line with that, where they really embraced these characters. They really had a take that they came in with. And as far as the improvisation, I mean, yes, we did that. We welcome that because it adds spontaneity. There's a lot of improvised lines in the movie. And of course, Jabuki's a wonderful improver, Gabrielle Union, but also Dennis and Jake and Lucy as well. They got to know their characters well enough to be able to improv and be specific with that. And yeah, it really was just a really joyous experience. The only thing that kind of, I wish we had the opportunity to do was work together, as a group, because just the nature of their schedules, because they're so busy and separate, sometimes separate continents. And it's really hard to kind of schedule all that. But I mean, someday, maybe the next one, someday I would like to do that, where you could, just carve out some time for everybody to be together and kind of workshop it as a group and build it from there. And I suppose if you had enough time, you could maybe schedule that. And so I'm looking forward to that someday. I think it'd be a blast.
So, we are an awards site, and you have had quite an experience with awards because you were one of the people who won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature for Big Hero 6 back in 2014. That was the year it came out. I know the ceremony was in 2015. What was that experience like?
Oh man, it was like a out of body kind of thing. It was just the most wonderful night ever. It was so much fun. We were so proud of that movie. There were so many great movies that year. And just to be, counted amongst, the rest of those filmmakers was such a wonderful honor. And then to be, to get the Oscar, it was, I remember some stuff, but a lot of it was just sort of this out of body experience type of thing.
I can only imagine. Don, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on our panel in just a little bit.